This is Rock and Roll Grad School with your hosts, Heidi Hedquist and Luke Poling. Beth can hear them calling, but she won't pick up the phone.
Hello, kitties. Hey, hey, the clouds away. There's straw for the donkeys, and the innocents can all sleep softly. Safely. Oh,
Wow.
damn it. All right,
Got
anyway.
one kid, what?
One is wide awake. Well, either way, all of our senses are working overtime.
Yes, they are, indeed.
We got there.
We did get
It
there.
was a
took a
roundabout.
little bit, but
Yeah.
we did get there.
This week, we're talking with Terry Chambers, him previously of XTC, now of EXTC.
Yes.
About all their various happenings. It's a lovely conversation, even if the internet was failing us that day.
Indeed.
Which it seems like every day now. Somehow the internet's letting us down.
Someone's letting us down, but Terry didn't let us down.
Terry did not. Terry delivered.
No, Terry definitely delivered.
And bless him
great
for
chat.
that. I wanted to talk about our friend's tragedy quickly.
Yes.
I know.
Should we wait till after we go see
here's
them,
what
or
I
do
will
you just
say.
want to spoil it for me?
No. Well, here's what I will say.
Yes.
Since you are seeing them, what would have been last night.
Correct.
So I saw you doing the math in your head. Like, was I
Yes.
carry the one? Yes, I will have. Lovely show. I don't want to go into details. The whole evening, lovely. So I think you will enjoy it. And I got to say hi to our friend Maurice, I think it's how he says it.
Yeah,
Maurice,
because like Maurice Gibb, get it?
Yes.
I love
it's been one of those days.
I know, but it makes me so happy because but it does that I'm not the only one who can no longer put a sentence together. Like, I love that we are still tracking on our little different islands.
Right. Yes. No, these trains are definitely running in their own unique time zone.
Yes.
I think we can say.
Indeed.
And thank God we're not drummers, because
it would be terrible drummers.
The band would be a whole mess. Whole mess right there.
I would be Tommy Lee without the talent, obviously. I would be just all about the showmanship, but I wouldn't actually play. Whereas he at least can play.
Yeah. So you would be strapped into the kit and spun, but just flailing your arms everywhere.
Yes. Looking beautiful, of course.
Right, of course.
Does, yes.
Well, I'm glad we got that out of the way.
Yeah. I don't know who you'd be.
I mean, I would like to think Charlie Watts, but I feel like that's probably giving myself way too much credit.
Well, but much like me saying I can't play like Tommy Lee, I just have the panache. I could see you with some Charlie Watts panache.
Yeah. You're my lead singer.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Which is what you say to me all the time.
Exactly. You guys have been out going as EXTC for a while now. It seems like you were just in Japan. You were in the US last year. How's it been? Have you been enjoying the process, or is it just a slog at this point?
No, it's been good. The band's been going since 2020, so it's been a bit of a slog for 3 years. Everything into all that as well. But yeah, we're enjoying it. It's fun. It's good to be a part of.
What was it like? Did these songs ever leave your life? I mean, you left the band in, I think it was 82, but has XTC and this music always been around you, or did you have some time away and get to come back to it this time?
No, it's always there. It's sort of in your veins. It's your DNA. I mean, once you've performed this stuff, recorded it, there's no escape. And it's there. There's no escape from it. You're part of it.
What about going to this? Go ahead. Nope. You go. Nope. You're actually not breaking up, so you talk.
Oh, I better talk. We've had a horrible ice storm here, so my connection's not the best. But one of the things I think is so interesting, so often when these bands we love come out again after a few years, perhaps with a slightly different makeup of some of the players, I think a lot of times, wow, I don't know, so-and-so must be so angry and that's terrible that they did this without them. But one of the things I know is really clear is that you're doing this with the blessing of your fellow bandmates, and obviously bringing in some incredible fellow players to do this now, which I think is important for people to know.
Yeah, it's very disappointing that the other three don't want to do the live thing. Dave Gregory in particular, I asked on 3 occasions whether he would be interested in being part of this, but unfortunately, no, he decided not to. But I've got 2 great guys with me now, Steve Hampton and Matt Hughes. And we're doing a good job, I think. We've recently returned from Japan, which was immensely successful. Every intention of going back there again. So yeah, it's gaining momentum in a nice way.
And I think it's got to be for fans, the fact that, you know, I think they probably resigned themselves to never hearing this stuff live. And music always sounds better when you're in the room with the musicians. And they were just sort of, all right, well, we have the records and we have to make do with that. But it seems like kind of EXTC coming along and doing this has been got to be a great treat for them to get to hear this stuff in a different setting than on the record.
Yeah, surprisingly, there's a few people around that have been coming to the gigs in the States that saw the band originally. Is quite remarkable, really, in light of the fact that we haven't been there for probably 42 years, I think. But there's lots of new fans. A lot of fans have become XTC people since I left the band in '82, and they've actually sort of gone back to the old material, having heard things like Skylarking and Oranges, the albums they weren't on, and then rediscovered the old XTC, which is basically the band that I was in. But in order to cover that, we play from all of the albums apart from Go To, and we didn't think that there was anything on that particularly that was relevant today. I mean, some of the songs have weathered well over the ages, and some of them don't. So we've had to be quite selective in what we've ended up playing without missing out any of the hits, I hope.
Well, in the sound, I was listening to some of the records this morning, getting ready to talk to you, that so much of that sounds so timeless.
And surprisingly, you're still talking to me, having listened to them.
Yeah. Well, we try to be open-minded. But like, it just sort of seems, did you guys approach those records with this idea of how do we not fall into the trap of making it sound like 1978? Or was that just naturally how you guys played?
Yeah, it's I even when I started putting this band together there, I started listening to the old records to try and find out what the hell I was doing on them, and I wasn't embarrassed by the sound of them, and I think that the songs have aged pretty well, even the older ones. You know, as I say, I think there's a little bit on Go To there that probably didn't age quite as well as what it might have done, and we've tried to use the material that is probably the best to perform live. Some of the things are probably left in the studio because they involved a lot of keyboards and a lot of vocal overdubs as well. And in order to do them justice, you know, we'd probably need more musicians to do that.
Well, and you've got it used to be a 4-piece, right now you're a 3-piece. So you're all doing double and triple duty already, making it all come to life, which is amazing.
Yeah, well, surprisingly, it's good for our sound engineer because he's only got 3 people to do it. So we should actually cut his wages as a result of that, I think. But he probably argued
well, you
that. But no, I think it gives more space for those that are there. I think from some bands there, when you get too many musicians on stage, they can tend to get into each other's way a little bit unless the thing is orchestrated properly. So it certainly gives us a lot more space.
And XTC's music in general is known for such a just well orchestrated, well assembled piece. I mean, pop music in general is a incredibly fancy watch at times. How much freedom do you guys feel on the road to take these songs somewhere else and to see what other sounds you can get out of them? Or do the fans sort of demand this has got to sound like exactly what we heard on the record?
Well, that's up to the individual, really. I've always wanted to play in a rock band, and this is probably the first rock band I've really played in. And it's stripped down to instruments, and we do a rock version of these songs. Now, if people want to listen to the records, well, they can do that when they go home. But when they come and see this show, hopefully, and they will, they'll see a rock version of those songs, you know. And once they've paid their money, it's their choice.
Very, very, very true. Have Andy or Colin seen you guys play? I mean, obviously they've given their blessing.
No, they haven't. No.
Just not interested in going back to the.
Andy actually emailed me not long back and wished me all the best on our nautical adventures, which is going to be on this cruise from LA to Mexico, which starts place next week, I believe.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
yeah, that's coming up.
And that's got to be such a fortunate position to be in. You know, like Heidi was saying, you so often see bands splinter, and who's the real, I think, Journey now are arguing with each other, or is it?
Yeah.
Everyone's always fighting.
Correct.
You guys seem to have sort of weathered the storm of the musical disagreements and come out and sort of said, well, these songs and our personal relations aside, these songs still deserve to be heard. It's got to feel great that the music lives on in that way.
I think so. I mean, I've always enjoyed the live situation more so than the studio situation, which is probably why I differ from Colin and Andy's approach to the thing. They were quite content to just try and create as good a masterpiece as what they could in the studio. But from my point of view, it's all about going out in the live situation, doing it by the seat of your pants there, because if the errors are made, then you have to live with them at that particular point in time. So it sort of puts you on the spot quite a bit, but it's also about having actual connection with the fans in that particular moment. So it's a moment in time that can never be replaced. I mean, you can put a record on every day of the week and it'll always remain the same. You come and see this band and mate, we're cooking one night and perhaps one of us might have an off night the next night, but that's the beauty of it. You know, it's you just never know exactly how it's going to go. You have your best endeavors, but that's what makes it exciting, I think.
Yeah, the impressionistic side of this music and this art going, well, here's what it sounds like tonight.
Absolutely.
Is there anything that oh, go ahead.
Quiet because my connection's bad.
Oh, I think you're good now.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say, I think that's also really fun for the audience, the imperfection. I think we like to see, not that we want anyone to have off, but I think we like someone, our heroes be human. So I think that adds to it more.
It's at the moment, you know, people are looking at you thinking, is he going to do that fill now? Has he still got it? This type of thing, you know. And up until this point anyway, I think we've left the audiences fairly happy and content, I think, which is more than I could ask for, really, in light of the fact that I'm the only original member in the band, you know. I mean, there's going to be people that are a little bit skeptical for sure, but at the end of the day, our thoughts are that it's worth doing, and people seem to be enjoying what we're doing. So it's very encouraging.
Certainly. Is there any song for you that's always you're licking your chops? I can't wait to get to this one tonight.
There's certain songs that on the contrary, there's certain songs that I'm glad we're over. But, No, I don't know really. It all depends on the evening, I think. Sometimes you're playing a particular song and the audience are right into it, and suddenly you think, that may be the highlight of the night. So it can vary from one night to another. That, once again, that's some of the beauty of actually being on the spot. Sometimes people get into it one night on and another song another night, you know.
How has your approach to these songs changed over the years? Obviously, you've had, what, 30 years between the original recording and now. Do you ever look back on this stuff and listen to it and go, what the hell was I thinking? And there's a much better way to play this now?
Well, I think that's exactly what's taking place, Luke. I'm certainly as manic, I don't think, as a player. I'm 67 now, so when I was 27, I was probably a little bit more like, you know, the likes of Dave Grohl or Taylor Hawkins or somebody like that, you know, going right at it. But you know, when you're in your 20s, you're in a position to do that. And it's all about the visual thing. My approach now is to make sure that I conserve my energy so that I can get through the 2-hour set, but for the good. So I think my technique has certainly changed.
You know, I noticed on Wikipedia, which is always the most reliable of sources, they mentioned your, and I'm going to screw up the name of it, the cymbal choking, or basically hitting the cymbal and then silencing it immediately. Do you think that's one of your kind of key elements of your playing, or is this something that fans have blown out of proportion?
Well, there's one particular song I do that, yeah, but I wouldn't say my whole career has rested on that. Yeah, it's just another aspect. I mean, I think that sort of really, that type of thing goes back to probably Roger Taylor of Queen, where he was doing a lot of that stuff during the early Queen stuff. You know, he's doing this, psh, psh, all this sort of business. Now I'm here, psh, that sort of stuff. I mean, it's just a technique of the time, I guess. And I think I'm no different to any other drummer, really. I think we've all pinched stuff from somebody at some point in time. We all owe it to Gene Krupa or Buddy Rich or something of that nature, you know?
Yeah. Now, and I've seen too that you guys, as playing as a trio, have sort of gelled and worked so well. You're working on new music yourselves. Is this correct?
That's right. Yeah, it's a slow process at the moment because we're so involved with the live gigs that we're doing. So
you got some stuff on your plate, sure.
I'm sorry.
Yes, and you've got some stuff on your plate, sure.
Yeah, I think we intend to be a little bit more serious about the original material once we return from the States this time, which will be in early April.
You must be looking forward to that. It's just such a new avenue to go down with the sound and these guys.
I mean, it's nice to sort of play this old stuff there, but once again, it's nice to sort of like have something fresh as well. You know, it's like sort of eating the same meal all the time. It can get a little bit, you know, you just want something a little bit better in your diet, I think, from time to time.
Certainly. And I feel like XTC is one of those bands where you have a large number of songs that you have to play to make everyone happy. That's correct.
I mean, there's certain songs in there that you know, you'd probably be lynched if you didn't play them, you know. So you know, they say, well, you know, I've seen sort of bands and one thing or another, and I remember seeing Yes at one point there, and they played a really sort of an acoustic version of Owner of a Lonely Heart, and I was very disappointed because it was nowhere near what the original song was. So when you have big hits, I think you have to sort of replicate them as best you can, I think, for the satisfaction of the listener.
Yeah. It's such an interesting dichotomy because the fans are coming because they like the music, they support you, and yet there's a let's stay on the well-trod road. Let's not go too deep into the B-sides and the outtakes.
Yeah, it's the songs that people are most familiar with. You know, we're doing some other stuff as well, of course, here to keep the thing interesting. But I think overall, most of the time we're doing nearly 2 hours worth of material that we're working on, and we vary it depending on the venue, depending on whether there's a support band or not. So certain things have to be missed out at some point, but I think we've got a good cross section of music across all the albums, to be honest.
Yeah, it seems that way looking at the set list, that you really cover the whole span of the band. And you said you cover every record except Go To, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, some people are going to say, oh, I'm disappointed they didn't play this, but in a 2-hour thing, you got to sit, I don't know how many albums it is, 14 albums or something, 20 odd years of recording there, and you've only got 2 hours. I mean, even Bruce Springsteen can't play all this stuff,
Right.
No, very true. Were you going to say something, Heidi?
It's okay. And I'm cutting out a lot, I can tell. So just.
How did this original idea come to you? Because it seems novel that, like we were saying before, like bands don't do this, don't allow this to happen without a lot of legal problems.
Well, I think we're all individuals, and people, we make choices as to what you want to do. And I mean, my choice is to go out and play this stuff live, and there's no contractual reason why I shouldn't do that. I mean, I'm actually flying the flag for the rest of the group, so I don't see that there's any reason why they wouldn't want me to do that. I think, but I understand what you're saying. Contractually, some bands might be in a bit of a pickle like that, but fortunately for me, that's not the case.
Yeah, thank God Roger Waters isn't in your band. EXTC is playing all over America right now. For more information and for tour dates, check out their website, extc.band.
Rock and Roll Grad School is produced by the Professional Production Company. Please be sure to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, because your impassioned review is just as honest as us standing backstage waiting to come back on for the encore. For more information, you can check out our website, rockandrollgradschool.com. And like everyone else, we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Today's show was recorded and produced by Heidi Hegquist and myself from our world headquarters located on the second floor of the professional office building, centrally located downtown. Our reluctant executive producers are John Sauvé and Sandy Stone. Our willing executive producers are Rachel Allen and Randy Jeanette. Our intern is Zach Jackson. This one's for Philippe. Thanks for joining us. Good night, drive safe. May all your favorite bands stay together.